Hello everyone, my name is Debbie Jones-Snyders and I'm from the Hopedale Presbyterian Church. I'm delighted to welcome children and families to our church school lessons and crafts. Our story today is the parable of an unforgiving servant, which is adapted from Mission Bible class with images by Sweet Publishing and accessed via free Bible images. We have two coloring pictures for you today. And we have two crafts. One is a forgive each other heart person, and the other is the set free handcuffs. And then we have a variety of other activities for you, including a maze, word searches, a crossword, and an anagram. So now for our story. The story, the parable of an unforgiving servant. Peter, one of Jesus' apostles, came to him and asked him a question. Lord, how many times should I forgive someone when they do something wrong to me? Jesus knew that we should always forgive someone if they are sorry for what they have done. Instead of saying, always, Jesus said, Peter, you should forgive someone 77 times. Some versions of the Bible even say 70 times 7. That's a lot of times. Then Jesus decided to tell Peter a parable or a simple story with an important meaning to help him understand how important it is to forgive someone when they're sorry. This is Jesus' parable. Once there was a king who was very rich. He had many servants who worked for him. Some servants were in charge of lots of the king's money, and they were also in charge of other servants. The king decided to check to see if one of his servants was taking care of the money. And when the king checked on the money, he found out that his servant had not paid the bills, but had borrowed the money for himself. It was not just a little money. The servant had borrowed thousands and thousands of dollars. He had borrowed so much money that he could never pay it back. At first, the king decided that the only way to get his money back was to sell the servant and all of his family as slaves. The servant was very upset. His wife and children would all have to go and live in different places. They might never see each other again. The servant begged the king to forgive him for what he had done. He begged and begged him not to sell his family as slaves. The king felt sorry for the servant. He decided to forgive the servant for borrowing the thousands and thousands of dollars. He even told the servant that he would not have to pay the money back. Do you think the servant was happy? Do you think that he was so happy that he treated everyone nice that day? No, he did not. As soon as the servant left the king, the servant found another servant who owed him money. The servant only owed this man a few dollars. His debt was very small. Even though the king had been nice to him, the servant grabbed this man and began to choke him. He told him that he would throw him in prison until he paid back the few dollars. Some of the other servants heard what had happened and went and told the king. What do you think the king thought? He had forgiven the servant a huge debt, but the servant could not forgive another, even a small debt. The king was very angry and he threw the man in prison. He would have to stay in prison until the debt was paid. The parable means that God has forgiven us for everything we have ever done wrong to him. He has forgiven us a huge debt, And now he wants us to forgive people when they are sorry for the bad things that they do to us. God forgave us a huge debt like the king in the parable did. And we should forgive others for their small debts against us. That's what the servant in the parable should have done. We have several activities for you, and you will need to print the templates. So we have 2 coloring pictures here and 2 crafts. The first craft is a forgive each other heart person, and you will need to print the template, and you need some construction paper, things to color with, scissors, glue. So color and cut out the pieces of the person and glue the pieces onto some construction paper. And notice that the arms are very large, and just like love and forgiveness should be. The second craft are some chains. And in order to do this craft, you will need some pipe cleaners. You will need construction paper, scissors, ruler, if you want to make the strips the same size, scissors, stapler, and things to write with. So first of all, measure the strips on the construction paper and cut them out, and make little circles with them and staple them together. And you can see that I've stapled the chains together. And then you can get the pipe cleaners, and essentially you're putting them through and twisting them around to make the handcuffs like that. So I've twisted them up, and you can actually write on one side forgiveness, and on the other side here, the other chain breaks the chains. So forgiveness, let's put that out there. Forgiveness breaks the chains. So when we forgive other people, we free ourselves and we free others as well, so we can all go forth and love other people better. So just like God loves us. So our other activities also include a maze, word search, a couple of word searches actually, crossword puzzle, and an anagram where you can figure out what the words are and scramble them. So this week, remember that it's important to forgive others just as we are forgiven. Forgiving takes away those wrongs and takes away that hurt. So forgive others and forgive yourselves. Have a wonderful week.